global community toolbox to resolve complex internal ethnic skirmishes over access to resources, including main position in the state political institutions, according to Kiel and Albert. So the Philippines has always been run from Manila. All major decisions, budgets, and authority flow from the center outward to thousands of islands. This opens by noting that globally federal and decentralized system became popular tools after the Cold War, precisely because centralization creates problems in diverse geographically complex countries. The Philippines fits the description perfectly because Philippines is composed of 7,641 islands. That makes communication costly, remote communities get neglected, and developing states concentrated in Metro Manila. Because of this, some Filipinos began pushing for federalism by introducing decentralization as the government's first answer and the Local Government Code of 1991 as its landmark results, giving LGUs real authority for the first time in over 3 decades. So some scholars, politicians, and experts look into the federal options as the next step for Philippine governance. So scholars, politicians, and experts are divided. Those in favor of federalism says it would solve the two things that LGCs cannot. First, it would constitutionally lack in regional powers, so Manila can never take them back according to Tayang 2019. And the second one, it would allow culturally distinct people like the Moors in Mindanao to govern themselves within a unified state according to Eat, Beef, and Tupper Wayne 2017. So the federal structures safeguards a strong constitutions, bicameralism, and judicial review would function as permanent barriers against central government overreach. Liphard 2012 adds that federations guarantee a clear written separation of power between national and regional levels. Decades after the LGC, federalism still have positive receptions among academics and policy makers. So over the years, federalism has positive receptions among academics that it may seem like a panacea or the solution for a problem. So while federalism has enjoyed positive receptions academically, two major real-world events revealed its weaknesses. The 2008 global financial crisis triggered by the US and the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. So both events show that federal countries are vulnerable to intergovernmental rivalry. When national and regional governments fight over resources and spending responsibilities rather than cooperating. So such distributional tensions can have either vertical between national governments and local governments or horizontal between subnational units. Dimensions and may weaken and alter federal system. So Brown and Frame specifically warned that crisis push federal system toward either too much centralization or desolidarization, which richer region pulls away from poorer ones. Any shifts toward federalism must be done carefully, and that the LGC is the most likely foundation for a meaningful Philippine version of federalism, whatever forms that it eventually takes. So federalism in the Philippines. Professor Ronald Watts noted that political leaders, leading intellectuals, and even some journalists increasingly speak of federalism as a healthy, liberating, positive form of government. Examples of Belgium, Spain, South Africa, Italy, and the United Kingdom look to be going toward new innovative federal forms. So Professor Watts also observed at an international conference in Switzerland the political leaders, intellectuals, and journalists worldwide were increasingly viewing federalism as a positive, liberating form of government. The key definition here is that federalism allow a shared national government to handle common concerns while still letting individuals, regions govern themselves according to their own needs and identity, unity without uniformity. So what is federalism? According to Professor Watts, federal system combines unity and diversity through representative institutions, but they are no panacea for a political ills. And he cited Brillantes and Moscar that stated a federal government-led nation needs to be achieved by providing space for diversity. It offers flexible self-government arrangements suited to varying circumstances, unity as a phrase, diversity in practice. So Professor Watts also introduced three key reasons of federalism. First, federalism is not a cure-all. Federal political system provides a practical way of combining unity and diversity, but there are no panacea for all countries' political ills. Second, effectiveness depends on context. Its success depends on respect for constitutional norms, structures, and spirit of tolerance and compromise. Third, form or match society. The particular form of variant of the federal system adopt may give an adequate expression to the demands of the particular society in question. So real example niya is the Switzerland, Canada, India, Malaysia, Nigeria, and Pakistan all turned to federalism to manage ethnic and cultural diversity. It then pivots to the Philippines, that was introduced by Jose V. Abueva. So according to Brillantes and Moscar, some academic and policy makers in the Philippines has been examining the prospects of federalism. But one of their mentors is si Jose V. Abueva, a political scientist, called for transforming the current decentralized unitary government to a federal one by 2010. He proposed a transition to be carried out in two phases over 10 years, beginning in 2000, allowing for extensive review, national discussion, and collective actions of the changes. So Abueva plan called for the concentrating national powers to regions, devolving more functions to LGUs, deepening the LGU reforms, and reorienting citizens toward greater independence and local responsibility. Then this raises thought critical questions. Is federalism truly the answer to the moral rebellion in Mindanao? Will it speed up national development or lead to disorder? Senator Aquino Pimentel Jr., a major federalism advocate, give two clear answers. First is the speed up economic development. Share power concentrated in the national government with the regions, allowing them to marshal their own resources for development without being hindered or controlled by the central government. And the second is the moral rebellion, avert the causes of the moral rebellion, and lay the groundwork for our just and lasting peace in central and southwestern Mindanao. So Abueva also introduced a detailed rationale for why the Philippines specifically should shift from federalism. The 5 reasons are: the country has already achieved enough national unity and democratization to handle the transition, the sufficient national unity. The 1987 Constitution itself has a reaction against the over-concentrated Marcos dictatorship. So federalism is a natural continuation of the democratic reform, the legacy over centralization. The federalism would free local leaders from the suffocating control of the national government, relief for local leaders. It would energize citizens, spark creativity, and build healthy competition between states, make people empowerment, and the fifth one, it would put governance closer to the people, making them more invested in solving local problems like poverty, unemployment, and poor infrastructure. So federalism would reorganize the Philippine 18 provinces into 8 to 10 larger, more efficient states, making administration more manageable. People would be more empowered because they would be directly involved in state local politics that actually affect their daily lives. So the federal setup would also better protect cultural diversity. States would nurture their own regional languages and tradition while the national government maintains shared identity through Filipino and English. So federalism would also make the country more responsive to security, threats, and globalization. One very specific proposal stand out, move the national capital to the former Clark A base in Central Luzon, turning Metro Manila into a special metropolitan state on its own, allowing it to deal with its massive urban problems more effectively. So after acknowledging the federalism is not a perfect solution, presents a concrete 10 years preparation plan for adopting a federal government. Sa year 1, focuses on building the knowledge foundation, setting up an institution to collect data on federalism worldwide, designing a website for the Philippine Federal Movement, forming a network of civil society, academics, and politicians, and fully implementing the LDC as the immediate groundwork. Year 2, shifts to organizing, formalizing the federalism network, issuing membership IDs for the movement of a federal republic of the Philippines, recruiting members, connecting with international federalism organizations like Canada International Forum of Federations, launching the website, beginning public consultation on LDC, visioning and starting a mass information campaign about federalism. Year 3 and Year 4 LDC reforms and begin amending it to align with full devolution, supported by continuing seminars and workshops. Year 5 is purely educational, building public awareness. Year 6 is a milestone, electing delegates to a constitutional convention. Year 7 is the most critical, holding the actual constitutional convention that formally considers shifting from a unitary to a federal form of government. Year 8 involves all national government agencies preparing for the decisions, inventorying resources, and consulting personnel. Year 9 continues public education, and the Year 10 is the finish line, adopting the Constitution of the Federal Republic of the Philippines, the formal birth of Philippine federalism. So Filipino Muslim Mindanao has long suffered injustice, marginalization, land dispossession, and political exclusion that fueled decades of armed rebellion. The first serious government response came during President Corazon Aquino's administration in 1989. The Republic Act No. 6734 creates the autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao, the Philippine only regional autonomous government at its time. Its purpose was to deliver regional autonomy to Muslim in Mindanao, resolve long-standing historical grievances, and provide a peaceful framework for settlement with Muslim secessionist groups that since 2013 our elections were merged with the general election cycle, whereas before they were held separately. So the challenges before federalism can work by Ten Hanke 2018. First is to regulate political dynasties. The necessity to regulate the number of political dynasties. A provision against political dynasties was included in the Bayanihan Charter, Article 5, Section 8. Second, the party system reforms. Institutionalize a set of party system reforms including campaign finance, reforms, country subsidiary to political parties, a ban on party switching, and enforcing citizens' party relationship. The next one is the mixed electoral structure. Strengthen a mixed electoral structure, preferably under a parliamentary system, to the rise of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region. So the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao efforts to address injustice against Filipino Muslim in the southern time of President Corazon Aquino, as what I stated earlier. Why ARRM was created in 1989 under the Republic Act No. 6734, approved by President Corazon Aquino, constitutional duty to deliver regional autonomy for Muslim Mindanao, formed to solve historical grievances and provide a framework for peaceful settlement with Muslim secessionist group. Why it fell short? Mainly a hollow administrative body. 5 Muslim minority provinces with little real power. Dr. Sukarno Tanggol, its authority was practical, partisan, progress hampered by poor governance, rampant corruption, and lack of financial support for the central government. So despite good intentions, ARRM was described as a hollow administrative body. It only covered 5 Muslim majority provinces like the Mindanao, the Lalayo Sur, the Basilan, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi, and was given vertical will, political or administrative power. So, for ARM to BRRM at timeline, 1989, ARM created under the RA 6734 to provide regional autonomy for Muslim Mindanao. 2013, Bangsamoro Autonomous Region passage attempted under President Benigno Aquino III, will despite his conciliatory stance. 2016, Bangsamoro Basic Law promulgated under President Duterte after earlier attempts failed. 2019, BRRM official established as part of a peace settlement ending the nearly 50 years armed conflict with Muslim separatists. 2021 to the recent Bangsamoro Transitional Authority or BTA drafted law to give BARMM legal status. MILF pledged continued disarmament and discommunication. BARM early achievements and ongoing challenge. First year achievement, form a transitional authority drafted a regional budget, oversaw thousands of rebels surrendered. BTA drafted law to give BRM legal status. Ongoing challenges, security atmosphere remains uncertain. Groups actively trying to derail the peace effort. Philippine legislature removed the MILF police power in the region. Mindanao is the Philippines' most underdeveloped region. New government is with the budget. So what the ARRM need to succeed? First, consistent financing. Significant sustained funding for the region's social welfare and healthcare. Mindanao is the most underdeveloped region in the country. Second, intergovernmental relations body. Strong national government support through a multi-sectoral body with broad representation of community leaders and central agencies. 3. Bangsamoro leadership capacity. Capacity to the Bangsamoro leadership to govern effectively, transparently, and accountably, especially post-COVID-19. And of course, functional transitions leadership. New Muslim polity must have transitional leadership that's avoid ARMM predecessor, shortcut and build durable institutions. Strategic concern, a system called between 2 demands. First demand, strong central leadership requires for national unity and even the survival of a fragile state. Without a strong center, the Philippines risks disorders and disintegration versus local autonomy. Local institutions clamor for the power to become more responsive to local situations and paradoxically to strengthen the state by distributing its load. So why the status quo is unsustainable? Moral uprising, periodic armed conflict in Mindanao weakens the national economy and destabilizes the entire South. Fragile democracy, economic decline, and central